Alright, Sam, here's my top 10 list. I'm going to do it on a farm with some horses. So, my first pick on the list, I'm going to talk about Gabby Boyle and how she introduced me to the whole concept of pronouns. I never thought of asking people what pronouns they prefer until my first day in your class, when Gabby handed me a piece of paper, this one, with the pronouns, and, you know, they, ze, she, he, no idea. Always knew my pronouns, but I never thought of actually asking someone else theirs, out of respect, and I'm really glad that she taught that to me. So, number 2. I'm going to talk about having a non-binary identity. Oh, they want to come say hi. Non-binary identity is not having an identity, using the pronouns maybe they, or ze. Never ever knew that was a thing until you had us read those, our homework assignments and watch the video, and that was the first time. And I think that's really, really cool that people found something that fits what they feel like on the inside. Which brings me to my next thing, transgender. Finding someone, or finding yourself and finding an outside that matches your inside. Because a lot of people have a really hard time with that. And the thing about the transgender that I want to talk about is the quote, transgender bathrooms, which of course we know are gender neutral bathrooms, but ignorant people tend to call them transgender bathrooms. And that has always made me angry, and I've always recognized that they aren't transgender bathrooms, they're gender neutral bathrooms. And I am so glad that all over campus and campuses everywhere and in public now, more people are opening gender neutral bathrooms. So now, number 4, I want to talk about coming out monologues, which kind of ties in to the whole transgender topic, because with the coming out monologues, it's about people coming out, and oftentimes people coming, as we read and as we discussed in class, the hardest person to come out to is oneself versus anyone around them. And I never thought about that either. I feel really ignorant talking about it now, but I really never thought about that. Coming out monologues was all about being able to, well, for me, it was about being able to see and feel what other people have been living their whole lives, and it was beautiful and sad and emotional, but I'm really glad that I got a chance to watch it, and he is too. So, my next topic is about the film Outrage, and also the tied in is the clip from Survivor that we watched in class about outing people. So in Outraged, there were a bunch of politicians that were outed against their will, and to me, that's honestly a little controversial when it comes to politicians. Not so much, but with the Survivor clip, I was absolutely dumbfounded at how horrible that is to out somebody else when it's none of your business, especially on television in front of people you don't know, and even they don't know. And again, with the outrage video, outing politicians, outing anyone is never ever okay. It is not your business, it is not your life, and you have no right to do that. Next, I would like to talk about Jessica Pettit. What really struck me about the conversation that she had with us was that she identifies as a lesbian, but then her partner transitioned into a male, and after that happened, she got a huge backlash from the Lgbtq community, and people were saying that she should not be considered heterosexual when she still identified as a lesbian. And I thought that was really interesting that one's own community would lash out at you like that. Next, I want to segue into LGBTQ rights, or lack thereof. What I found really interesting about that is that there really aren't many rights that LGBTQ people have. Everyone thought, oh, we get marriage equality, like, cool, yeah, it's really amazing, and that was an amazing time, but that's not the end of it. We see things like Pulse nightclub, where people are killing dozens of people just based on their identity, and that just shows that they do not have equal rights or are looked at equally as everybody else in society. Also, we looked at the maps, and I think California was the only state that had protections for LGBTQ people, especially in the workplace, and as far as non-discrimination laws. And that brings me to my next point, the corporate case for equality, and how corporations are working hard to try and create equal rights and non-discrimination rights for LGBTQ people in the workplace, which is amazing. And that leads to Bruce Rohr. We talked about LGBTQ fairness, etc., in the corporate world with him, and how and what he's doing to ensure that we keep the corporate world as well non-discriminatory, and we keep everything fair for all people, because there's no difference. And finally, happy ending with art and literature for my 10th point. Although there are not a lot of rights for LGBTQ people, we're seeing more and more what I consider celebrities who are openly gay, openly transgender, and anything, openly queer, pansexual, everything in the community now. Like, for example, I did my project on Miley Cyrus. She's a huge advocate for the LGBTQ community, being pansexual herself, and I think she's inspired a lot of people to come out and be who they are. And I think that's amazing, because we look up to celebrities, we look up to people like that in society. So if they're being open and accepting with themselves, then it might inspire other people to do the same. He agrees. So that's my top 10 list, and I just wanted to thank you, and have a good summer.